Good morning, everyone. Today is Saturday, October 11th. I'm starting to undecorate from Samhain and decorate for late fall, early Christmas. But today I wanted to make a shorter video. Something happened last night, and as I read the cards, and I decided to, or as I was waking up this morning, I realized a term that came to my mind. Now, when I do get my Patreon completed, I am going to have videos that will describe different things that happen when you're dealing with an insecure, very insecure personality in a grown-up, okay? It's a whole different ball game when you're dealing with an adult. It's not a child like I deal with on a daily basis, where you can work to correct the issue and have them become self-aware. These people generally by the age of 50 are not self-aware, and they're not going to be self-aware. They are the way they are, as my counselor told me, and you can pretty much forget about them changing. There is more hope for the younger people if they will work on their self-esteem one way or another, either through counseling and or through positive self-talk, which is what I did and what I learned and what my book is based on. So welcome to Coffee Chat. It's very early in the morning, and this video is on a term called gunny sacking. As I mentioned recently, I wanted to get this off my mind. My mother did go to psychotherapy, and in the course of those years, she learned a lot of terms, and she did pass them on and share them with me, and one of them was gunny sacking. She would, over the years, as she got older, she did actually start to mellow a little bit and become aware that she might be practicing gunny sacking. But she would accuse others of it as well. So, what is gunny sacking? Oh, let me go get the tarot. So, as the cards have been showing me that there is a hidden opportunity in an old issue, I believe that this is it, guys. This is me finally coming to a deeper understanding of what's going on when people behave this way. Now, in the tarot, we have a card called the Fool. And you see the Fool has a gunny sack. A gunny sack is a sack that people carry around with them. And in that sack is a series of events or things that were said. And it's like an arsenal. And there's going to be a time when they will pull one of those out as a weapon and throw it in your face. That's what gunny sacking is. And this is what the insecure, very insecure person, adult, does, who has never truly understood that they have a behavior that is problematic. It's cruel and it is sadistic. It is designed to hurt the other person. And yes, hurt people, but this is verbal abuse. It is psychological abuse. It is intended to harm so that they feel better. They feel the need to get back at you for something that happened years and years and years ago. So what happened was, I called my ex. He, of course, once again, doesn't understand why I'm in psychotherapy. And I'll be telling her about this. I will be discussing it with her. It's very early, guys. I woke up very early. So I'm eating a fig bar. A couple weeks ago, I called him and said, I'm feeling so lonely. My friend is in England. I don't have anybody else. And I'm dealing with all of this stuff. And he said, oh, you don't have to be lonely. You can call me anytime. So when I called him, he was busy. And he said, can I call you later? So he called me last night. Hello. And he said, so what's going on? And he had a quiver in his voice over there. And I didn't say, well, nothing, you know, it's gone quiet over here. There's pretty much a disconnect. I'm fortunate in that they have actually, I believe, told the neighbor to park in front of his own apartment, but I believe he's doing it now because he has what he wants. He's got a bigger place with a garage. In any event, there's not any uncomfortable feelings or strange dreams. But I didn't say that. I just said, okay, you know, I'm just resting. I walked 2.5 miles and did 150 steps climbing stairs, and I'm really, really, really exhausted, so I'm just recovering from that. And somehow he started up with, you know, something about you were writing about guys that you were talking to and flirting with or being with. And I said, what? I had a journal, guys. I was keeping a journal because I was having dreams about the future, and I was not yet understanding what the purpose of those future events would be. The only way that he could know that I was writing about things of a romantic nature in my dreams was if he was reading my journal. And so this is crossing boundaries that they believe they have every right to do. And again, I said that I never did anything. Whatever it was that I was doing or trying to make friends, you know, or not, there was not much. I was delivering Avon orders sometimes to females. I was going to college. It didn't matter where I was. He knew that there could be lonely people that would be striking up conversations with me. I was alone in my marriage, okay? Now, I've said we have to look at the silver lining, but when you don't see your husband and you're two ships who pass in the night, and when you are together, they're not affectionate. They don't sit next to you on the sofa. You are alone in your marriage. So I became increasingly unhappy and eventually clinically depressed. Something came up where he said, why do you think the kids don't want to talk to you anymore? It's because you were telling them about other guys that were talking to you, and you were talking to other guys. Now this would be my oldest son. And I said, well, I don't recall that, but you know, if I was doing that, then that was a mistake. However, like I said, I didn't go into the fact that I was sad and lonely because he doesn't feel that I had a right to be. Now, this card here is the King of Wands. And as you can see, the man is looking at this fiery wand. He's thinking, okay? This is the wand. It represents fire. If you look closely, down at the feet, there is a salamander, okay? I had a dream years ago that a little lizard bit me on my ankle. This represents the fiery temperament of the King of Wands, who might be sitting and patiently waiting for a moment to bite you on the ankle. And when I looked it up, this means someone is going to bite you at a vulnerable point. And they're going to bite you with their words. And they're going to do that by pulling out an event from their gunny sack. Yes, it hurt me because he knew how to hurt me. As we continued to talk, he talked about his mother and his reverence for the mother, and he was never unhappy. Now all of a sudden he's telling me his father didn't leave until he was 7, but I had been told that he was raised by his relatives and they didn't treat him well. So there's some inconsistencies there. He's not aware of the fact that he might secretly be a little bit resentful of his mother. But he said, you know, as I got older, because I said, you could have a young woman who's going to hit on you now that you're going to build a house and have a monthly income. And she could be after you for your house and your money. And he chuckled. Now, he said, well, you know, as I got older, I began to think about my father being with other women. He was a mechanic, he was good at his job, he made good money, and he was sending money to his mother for a while, and then he stopped. He didn't just have a mistress. He began to realize his father had more than one. And he said, now I'm talking to my brother, and my brother said, it's true, he saw it. He was with the lady next door, he was with another lady, and he had several. And I said, well, you know, there you go. I mean, as you got older, before you married me probably, that was in your mind about you thinking that this could happen in your marriage. Not by you, but by your partner. And he was quiet. Oh, I know how this whole thing started. He said, what do you think about, you know, some of the things in our marriage? I said, well, you were very jealous and very possessive. And he chuckled. And this is when he began to accuse me of having affairs. And I kept telling him I never did it. I never did it. I said, I knew it would cause more problems, and we had enough problems. And then he was quiet. There's a lot of lonely people in the world. They don't really know what they want, okay? And everybody experiences these types of things from different ages of men and women who are flirting, right? Or maybe even watching you, peeping toms. Like I said, I had more than one. It was an older guy over here. And he finally moved away. So yeah, I mean, I've had both, young, middle-aged, and older. Now, I couldn't remember all the other things that happened in our marriage, but, you know, after I said that to him, I said, you know, you chewed out my friend because we went to a belly dancing class. And I was trying to find some joy in my life and some time for myself. And he didn't think that was right. And this is a cultural thing, I think, as well. He's from Peru. And most women don't have an opportunity to go out to, you know, a dance studio and take a dance class. And he said, no, that young girl was single and she had a boyfriend. She had 2 boyfriends, you said, and she was inviting you to go off with him and her and him and the other guy. And I'm telling you, I was in La La Land because this never happened. And he kept telling it over, yes it did, yes it was. And I said, we went to a dance studio for a belly dancing class. And then he laughed and said, well, what do you need to do that for? So he felt abandoned and I felt imprisoned. So when you come to an impasse with someone, you're doing all the compromising and, you know, they're not, and they have all of these issues and insecurities. And I don't know whether he's BPD, which is borderline personality disorder, or narcissistic of a lesser degree. I really didn't, because all the things I had to deal with before my divorce and during my divorce and going to the library, all I came across was passive aggressive. And that's what my sister was saying. My sister had not yet come to the realization that our mother was also, or was, a narcissist. So, without talking ill of the dead, I think my mother is actually learning from what I'm learning and actually assisting me by prompting my memory of her telling me when I was a teenager about gunny sacking. And so I tried never to do that. Now there might have been a time or two when I did, but I might have been trying to just point it out to make someone more aware. There was a time when our neighbor moved in and she was flirting with my husband outside in the yard. He was very serious, you know, he wasn't being friendly back. And there was another occasion where we were at the grocery store and the cashier was flirting with my husband. And I said, whoa, that lady was flirting with you. I was not jealous, guys. And it could be because I had lost any feelings that I had for him at that time. But yeah, my son was the one who told me the cashier was flirting with Dad. So it happened. I was with them when we went to the store one day and went through the line, and that was the line with that lady, and that was the one who was flirting with him. Now, if you are a couple and your spouse is standing there flirting with the cashier, it can be very uncomfortable. And I've had to look at my past, you know. I was going to make a video called Past Imperfect. I can't remember what I was going to talk about. But the fact that I've made some mistakes, okay? Now, if I had blurted this out, telling my children that, you know, there's going to be a time when I'm going to be leaving, and I'm hoping I can find someone. I'm obviously still able to attract some men, right? And thinking I might be able to find someone who could help me finish raising my children. Like I said, we were 2 ships who passed in the night, and I was overwhelmed. Was probably a mistake, and my children felt that I was disrespecting their father, but there was things that happened, okay? He was an absentee father, and so they wanted him even more. But there was 2 occasions where he punched the children, not in their face, not in their arm, but I believe like in their waist, and my son in his thigh, because he asked for a pair of pants. Okay? And I called Child Protective Services, and they came, and he pointed at me, and he blamed me. And she said, I'm talking about you. You're the one who did this, and you closed your fist. You had a closed fist. I came home from college one night. I had to take a night class. And my son immediately told me, Mom, Daddy punched me again. Here, and there was a bruise. He thought I was out having an affair with someone. I called the police. They weren't going to file a complaint. I don't remember what the reason was or what happened. But I said, you know, I'm in the process of wrenching myself away from this marriage, and I've already called Child Protective Services. And they just accused me of floundering. They don't know what to do. I did not make a report, and I did not file charges. But, you know, the children conveniently forget that. It's too painful. One time my daughter was at the dryer talking to him about her clothes. She wanted her clothes a certain way, and he was folding them, and he punched her in her side. And I mean, you never saw a little girl so taken aback in your life. Now, he did give her money before she went off on her own. So he ended up saying, I really don't know why the kids aren't contacting you. I really don't know why. But what hurt me was that he said, yes, I am in contact and I am in communication with our daughter. I don't know what else is going on. I really don't. You know, if people have been poisoning their minds against me, I never did those things to them, ever. But, you know, when one parent is not giving you the love you need, you may be craving it more instead of really looking at the fact that you probably should just not want to be that close to the father because of that behavior. So those are some of the things that happen, and yes, I think the gunny sacking can definitely turn into physical aggression when they decide somebody is doing something that they don't, you know, in their mind it's like, I'm doing this, don't criticize me, right? Don't judge me. What I'm doing with your clothes is perfect. So as he saw that I was going to college and I was going to be able to get a good job and I would really have a steady income, and I already had my own phone, and I believe at that time I had also acquired my own car, that he could see I was acquiring mobility and freedom. So that's it for today. I might make another video later. God bless you, and I hope you understand me a little bit more. Have a great day.